Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at the world of artificial intelligence, specifically what was happening on Monday, May 12th, 2025.
Right. And our information, it's all coming from the AI Daily podcast reports from that specific day.
Exactly. And our mission here is, to cut through the noise. We want to pull out the really significant AI developments happening across, well, all sorts of fields, give you a clear, hopefully insightful overview.
Yeah, it's actually kind of amazing how much ground AI covers now. You look at just one day's worth of news, and you see these big steps in so many different areas. Really shows the reach.
Absolutely. It's moving fast. So where should we start? How about government and regulation? The FDA made a pretty big move, didn't they? Adopting generative AI across the whole agency for evaluations.
Yeah, that's a major step, agency-wide. So using AI that can, generate new analyses, new assessments
Right.
for looking at drugs, foods, medical devices, diagnostics. It's a fundamental shift, really.
And this wasn't out of the blue, right?
Yeah.
It followed a pilot program.
Correct. They tested it first. So the fact they're rolling it out agency-wide suggests they saw real benefits. Efficiencies, probably.
Okay, and the report mentioned, this connects back to the Trump administration's push, doesn't it? That focus on accelerating AI deployment.
It does seem like a continuation or maybe a result of that earlier emphasis. Removing safeguards, pushing for faster deployment. Now we're seeing it potentially baked into how regulatory bodies actually work.
So could this mean, are we looking at faster approvals for drugs and devices?
That's definitely one of the big potential implications. Faster processes could mean innovative treatments or products getting to people sooner. It points towards, a future where AI significantly streamlines these often lengthy regulatory hurdles.
Interesting. Okay, shifting gears from regulation, let's talk transportation. Penske Truck Leasing launched their latest Catalyst AI for managing fleets. Sounds like a lot of data involved.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly data intensive. The new version, it's powered by over 100 billion data points.
100 billion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And more than 300 real-time models running constantly.
So what does it actually do for them beyond just, collecting data?
Well, it lets them make really informed, data-driven decisions. We're talking everything from optimizing routes for a single truck to managing entire logistics hubs, all based on this massive real-time analysis.
So better efficiency, maybe fuel savings, predictive maintenance.
Exactly, all of that. Analyzing driver behavior, vehicle health, ride conditions. It aims to boost efficiency, cut costs, minimize downtime. Ultimately, it should make their whole transport network run smoother.
Okay, fascinating. Now let's jump over to biotech and pharma. Intrepid Labs, they launched an AI platform called Valiant for drug formulation. How's AI speeding that up? It's usually a long process.
It is typically very long, months, sometimes years. Valiant uses AI, basically algorithms, to predict which molecule combinations might work best for a new drug.
Okay.
And then it uses robotics to automate the actual testing of those combinations.
So it replaces a lot of the manual trial and error.
Precisely. The traditional way is very hands-on, very time-consuming. Intrepid's goal here is to cut that formulation timeline down drastically. They're talking, like you said, potentially from months to just days.
And they've got some serious backing, right? Over $11 million USD, with Van Bio leading the latest round.
Yeah, that level of funding is significant. It shows investors see real potential in this AI-driven approach.
What does that signal, you think, for AI in drug development generally?
It signals growing confidence, definitely. Confidence that AI can fundamentally speed up the early critical stages of finding new medicines. This kind of investment helps validate the tech and pushes it forward, hopefully bringing treatments to patients faster.
Right. From creating new things to recreating old things. Let's talk about NBC. They're planning to use AI to recreate the voice of the late Jim Fagan for NBA broadcasts. That's something.
It certainly is, and it's definitely stirred up some reactions. NBC is returning to NBA coverage after a long time, since 2002. So for some fans, hearing Fagan's voice again, even AI-generated, might feel nostalgic, maybe even like a tribute. But yeah, there's pushback, too. Discomfort, people questioning the ethics, the authenticity, using AI to replicate a deceased person's voice. It raises some deep questions, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
About authenticity, legacy, where technology fits in with memory and emotion.
Exactly. It's that intersection of tech and human feeling. What are the boundaries? How do we feel about AI in these very personal, sort of commemorative roles?
Yeah, definitely something to think about. Okay, let's broaden the view again. Geopolitics, almost. Saudi Arabia launched a national AI company, Humane. chaired by the Crown Prince himself.
Right. This is a major strategic move. Their stated goal is to position Saudi Arabia as a global AI hub, not just using AI, but developing it, leading in it.
So Humane is the vehicle for that, their central platform for AI strategy and investment.
That seems to be the plan. It shows a really deliberate national-level focus. It reflects this growing global understanding that AI is critical for economic growth, for strategic positioning on the world stage.
So we're seeing countries, not just companies, making these big calculated bets on AI.
Precisely. It's recognized as a foundational technology for the future. You have to be in the game.
Okay, let's bring it back to research for a second. Academia, Florida State University researchers, part of a multi-institutional team, look at AI for improving diagnostic accuracy, specifically differential diagnosis.
Yes. Differential diagnosis, for listeners, is that process doctors use.
Right.
When symptoms could point to several different conditions, they have to figure out which one it actually is.
So how does AI help there?
Well, the idea is that AI can analyze vast amounts of medical data, patterns, symptoms, and potentially help doctors consider possibilities they might overlook or weigh the evidence more effectively.
So it's like an assistant, helping them narrow it down.
Kind of, yeah. Augmenting their expertise. The hope is it leads to more accurate diagnoses, faster diagnoses, and ultimately better treatment and patient outcomes.
Makes sense. Okay, let's dive into big tech now. There was a whole bunch of stuff happening there on this one day. Meta first, launching an AI assistant across Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. What's the play there?
Personalization, mostly. And integration. They want an AI that remembers who you are, what you like, the context of your conversations across all their platforms.
So you could feel more seamless,
Yeah.
more intuitive.
Exactly. A more personalized experience overall, but obviously that raises flags for some people.
Privacy concerns.
Big time. Advocates are worried about the sheer amount of data this kind of integrated AI would collect, potential for, increased surveillance.
Yeah, that trade-off between convenience, personalization, and privacy. It keeps coming up with AI.
It's central to a lot of these consumer-facing AI deployments.
Okay, Google now. They put their Gemini Nano AI into the Chrome browser for security.
Yeah, specifically to detect scams, phishing attempts, malicious websites, that sort of thing.
How does having it in the browser help?
Well, the idea is it can analyze things in real time, right as you're browsing. It's running locally, potentially catching threats proactively before you even click something dangerous.
Like an early warning system.
Kind of, yeah. It's part of Google's broader strategy, embedding AI everywhere to add tangible benefits. Here, the benefit is supposed to be safer browsing.
Interesting. More AI integration. Now, what about the big players partnering? OpenAI and Microsoft were renegotiating.
Yes, that was in the news too. It seems largely driven by the potential for an OpenAI IPO.
Ah, going public.
Potentially, yeah. So if OpenAI becomes a publicly traded company, its relationship with Microsoft, a huge investor and partner, needs to be clearly defined.
So they're figuring out equity stakes, Microsoft's access to the tech moving forward.
Exactly. Microsoft relies heavily on OpenAI's models for its own AI products, like Copilot, so they need to ensure continued access, while OpenAI needs terms that work for a potential public offering.
It really shows how intertwined these major players are and how high the stakes are becoming financially.
Absolutely. An OpenAI IPO would be a massive event in the AI world. It underlines the value, the strategic importance.
Okay, another AI player, Anthropic, they launched something called AI for Science. Free credits for researchers.
That's right. They're offering free API credits, basically, free access to their AI models, specifically for researchers working on high-impact scientific projects. They mentioned a focus on biology and life sciences particularly.
Why do that? What's the goal?
The stated goal is to accelerate scientific discovery. Advanced AI models can be expensive to use. This lowers the barrier, gives researchers tools they might not otherwise afford.
So democratizing access to cutting-edge AI for science.
That's the idea. Potentially speeding up breakthroughs in areas like, drug discovery, understanding complex biological systems, maybe new diagnostics.
Seems like a smart way to foster innovation using their platform.
It could definitely lead to some interesting results down the line.
All right, one more from the big tech and AI innovation space. Mistral AI. European company, right?
Yes, a prominent European AI startup. They launched Le Chat Enterprise, which is described as a feature-rich AI assistant for businesses.
Okay. And a new model, Medium 3.
Yeah, and their claim with Medium 3 is state-of-the-art performance, but at a lower cost than competitors.
Trying to make enterprise AI easier, cheaper to deploy.
That seems to be the angle. It points to increasing competition in that enterprise AI market. More players, more options, potentially driving down costs and pushing innovation.
Wow. Okay, so that was a lot just from one Monday. When you take a step back, look at all these developments across government, transport, medicine, media, national strategy, research, big tech.
Right.
What's the big picture?
I think the biggest takeaway is just the sheer breadth
Mm.
and the speed. AI isn't just happening in one corner. It's advancing rapidly across, well, almost every sector imaginable.
Yeah.
From how drugs are evaluated to how trucks are routed, how we diagnose illness, how we even experience media or browse the web. It's becoming deeply embedded.
It really underscores that transformative potential we always talk about, seeing it happen day by day across so many different areas simultaneously.
Absolutely. It's not some far-off future thing anymore. It's actively reshaping things now.
Which leads to, I guess, the final thought for you listening. Considering this pace, this incredibly wide-ranging impact we've just discussed, what do you think are the most significant societal shifts we really need to be anticipating? And, maybe more importantly, preparing for in the, very near future?